Welcome back, guys. In this episode we're going to be restoring this old pedal powered grindstone, which has obviously seen some better days. So let's start by disassembling it. Alright, well, as you can see, we've finally got this thing pulled apart. So we've got, this is like some sort of water carrier, which we're obviously going to have to fabricate a bit of a new one for. Then we got the pedal and the connection rod and a couple of these like bushers and holders for the wheel. And then we got the main stand here. And took a bit of getting apart. I think the time lapse turned off before I had it completely finished, but it's sort of a matter of using the rattle gun and angle grinder to get rid of all the bolts, and then it all sort of fell apart. Anyway, we might start de-rusting it now, I think. Well, we've got a bit of a setup here. So this is obviously just a bathtub, and under the water here, you can't really see it, but I've got a bit of like steel, which is just sort of our sacrificial piece of steel. And what happens if we've got our battery charger here, and I'm pretty sure I've got it the right way around. If I haven't, I will put it up on the screen. But we're going to plug the positive into the sacrificial bit and the negative into our piece that we want to de-rust, and then we've got a bit of salt or laundry soda or something or other just to make the water a little bit conductive, and that's going to hopefully strip all the rust off this piece. So I'll probably come back in the morning and hopefully she'll be pretty rust free. Okay, well, as you can see, this is finished now. It looks quite nice. It's still got a little bit of rust on it, but I think we'll get that with the rust converter. And I've sort of gone most of it off. I don't know if you can see on camera. It'll sit there, but there looks like it's a bit of the original paint, which is cool. And I've been able to grind a bit of that slag, like not slag, but just that old plasma cutter mark off the top, and then sort of smooth it off with the wire wheel. Anyway, we'll give that a bit of a paint, and then we'll do the rest just the same as that. Alright, well, here's our pieces of steel. This one here I think was galvanised, but all the others obviously weren't. So now all we're going to do is use this wax and grease remover to get the rest of the de-rusting agent off them, and then paint them in some of this black metal paint, which you cannot see the label of. So we'll do that, and then while that paint's drying, we'll get on to working on that piece. Okay, well, as you can see, we've got this big frame on the bench now, and obviously most of these feet are sort of fairly damaged, so the plan is to cut them off about here and then put new pieces of steel on them. So all I'm going to do is sort of measure from the bench straight up to top of this foot, which is about 700. Alright, so I'm going to quickly write down that number, 712 millimeters, and then we'll mark to cut all these off at 650. Okay, well, this is a bit of a setup, but we got this across the top, which sort of means we're not dealing with that. A bit of a bend there, but we've got this sort of chock so that it is level with the table. So I'm now just going to go around, and I may not film it, but I'm just going to sort of put some bits of angle iron down, mark them off, put them in, cut them so that they fit in flush, and then weld them in. Alright guys, well, the GoPro's run flat, so it looks like we're using the phone, so it's useful for video quality. Anyway, we've got a bit of a jig here. This is my ruler, and I'm using that just to make a spacer between the table and the material, and then grab my marker, sort of run a line like that, and then do the same on the other side, and then I can cut that off. So I'll mark those and then I'll show. Okay, well, here's my cut mark, and that is reasonably parallel with the bottom of the bend, so I'll cut that off and then show the next step. That fits in there pretty well, so as you'd imagine, the next step is just to trace around here. Pretty hard to do with one hand. That leaves us those couple of marks there, and I'll be able to use this. Alright guys, excitingly, everything has been painted, so I didn't film all of it, but there are a couple of time lapses that I'm sure you've seen. So this is all painted, and then down here are the rest of our parts. So we're going to start trying to reassemble it. I will be replacing probably 90% of the bolts, because as you can see, a lot of them are just sort of super rusty. Turn the official focus. And they don't actually have much of a thread left. So, I'll set a time lapse up and we'll start reassembling. Alright, well, thought I'd pause the time lapse and show you what we're up to. We've been able to bolt these on both sides, or the bearings I guess you call them. So we once more have a spinning wheel. We are going to have to give it a bit of oil because it's quite stiff, but we'll do that in a second. So now we'll start working on getting the pedal working. Well, as you can see, And it's all put back together except for the little water can at the top. Spins quite nicely. And it can even work like with the pedal, which is good. It does need to be brought up a little bit, so we're gonna have to put some feet on it, but I knew that already. It also rocks a little bit, which I think is because this bench, which is covered in stuff, actually isn't quite straight. I think it's a bit warped. Anyway, I think first point of call is going to be just to cut down this bolt here so that it rotates on the shank of it. And then we will install the side pieces and start thinking about some sort of water container at the top.